has a training or something.
Car. Hey, Dick, it never used to be that much fun. It used to never be that much fun in the tour. Now it's fun because the equipment's the way it's working.
Well,
It's,
of
you
course.
know, just always, this is broke down, that's not working. You go in there and it'd be like, here's a pile, let's use it out, that's too wet.
We had you posted all over the place.
Oh, triple A, let's figure it out. So we
You remember those days?
5 miles.
I was supposed to
Like,
drill
you gotta try that.
No, so we're gonna Okay. Hey, also, just so you guys know, if it comes around, I actually got here about 6:45. Audra's got a cheerleader and parent meeting in the middle, so depending on, I gotta be out here by 6:45. I'll try.
Better cut him off in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's got some, wow.
What do we got?
Oh, okay, I'll take it. He's got somewhere to go, so he might be quick anyway.
Yeah. Projects this summer, driving.
Okay, yeah, we do that.
Get around the third floor.
Did you get a copy of that?
Yes.
Just,
Okay, thank you.
I only got one more here. We're gonna post this on the city website tomorrow, so
Put it together with you.
I wanna try to have one for Seth if he's coming.
Are we still?
He's not.
Yeah, we
Oh,
don't
is he
have
not
one.
coming? Oh, all right. Shoot.
All righty,
It's probably school board meeting.
we'll call the meeting to order at 5:31 PM and Chief Huggins is asked to start up. Chief, table's yours.
Okay, you need to take that.
No, thank you.
Very good. Good evening, April statistics. As you can see, 26 fire runs, but we're up by 8 this year versus this time last year. EMS calls are down for the month of April, but they're up for the year. Same goes with the transports, up about 20, 19, something like that. So the runs are up a little bit. I have no legislative requests. Monthly expense reports, overtime for the month of April, 14,797.27. I'm sorry.
What's that number for April again?
That is the overtime for the month of April. 14,797.27. Total overtime for the year is 65,260.02. Last year's overtime for 2011, the same month of April, was $15,317. So a little bit less than this time last year. Questions pertaining to overtime and that other number, 65,915, is something that had been requested, I think, by Jeff, Chris May, and that was Chris May, not Jeff.
Yes.
We're around the time, but anyway, that's just the monthly salary.
What, you got year-to-date overtime, what is the, you don't have your,
Yeah, total for the year is to the
Total
right.
year, 65,000.
how are the overall wages total?
And you say, what were the overall wages?
Year-to-date.
That is the first number,
This year
April
versus
wages.
last year.
April's is just for the month of April.
Just the month of April, that's
Yeah,
correct.
that's the total.
And
He hasn't been putting a year-to-date on just the basic wages.
as I had said, Jeff, this year's overtime was, for the month of April, was 14,797 compared to 15,317.
Got that.
Okay, you got that, but I did not, and I went back several months, and I had not started reporting total from the beginning of the year, so I didn't have anything I could pull from to give you, and I'll try working on that by next report, so we do have a comparison.
That'd be excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, if I may, you want total?
Year to date, that's would kind of help, you know, like we know what you're spending per the month in wages and what we were looking at.
Oh,
I think
Like,
Jeff is
I'd like to
just
compare
compare,
2011 to 2012.
Now, do you want just specific wages, like the April wages was 65,900? You want the total, because Debbie does give me that number as far as just wages from the beginning of the year till president.
Those don't change unless the contract changes. It's always the same.
A day,
amount.
yeah.
Unless
But, yeah,
an old guy leaves and a young guy
If you
gets
look
hired.
at my wages on a monthly basis, those run anywhere from 64.9 to 65.9. I mean, they're pretty consistent every month.
Okay, so if I were to look at April's 2011's year to date and April 2012's wages, not overtime, they're gonna be very close.
They should be, because there wasn't any pay raises in the fire department and such.
The only difference would be Doug Brown after a year.
You'd have a couple.
Yeah.
Couple of them that had
Yeah,
moved
so,
up.
yeah,
The
it'd
rest
be
of them
minimal.
pretty well topped out, but Brown.
Uh-huh.
So, but if you want those numbers, I'll throw them a few times and see if it's worth wasting the ink. Okay, under equipment, Medic 9's got a significant air leak, and cause was on overtime for Youth and Government Day, but he went to Gettysburg. Very appreciate that. Went to Gettysburg, and then I believe he's in Washington D.C. right now with a class, his boys class. So anyway, he hasn't had an opportunity to fix that yet, but it's going to have to be addressed pretty quick. The ice maker at Station 1's 10 years old, and it died on us the other day, and we about $700 to repair it. And so we're taking a look at potentially a new one. I hate to put $700.
An ice maker like a big one like you have at a hotel or something? Is that what you
Well,
want?
the one we had has been a 200-pound a day ice maker, and it doesn't take. We empty that out in the morning usually. When we go around during the summer and we fill our 5-gallon coolers up,
Yeah.
we got water bottles and ice and such.
Yeah.
So we pretty well put it in that every day. But
You know what we used to do when I worked at the water department in Lancaster in the summers? We used to take those big plastic, like ice cream, and they come in the tubs. We used to fill those and then just take that big block and just boom, put it in the water, and it would last all day. Yeah, it would last all day that way.
Mm-hmm.
Big block.
okay.
A suggestion.
Yeah, I know.
What's that?
I don't have a big
We don't
freezer.
have a big freezer. Put it
A chest freezer or something
Oh.
like that you can.
Oh yeah. Well,
safe.
All we've got is a combination of small
in the kitchen area.
top
Oh, yeah.
side. Well, we've got a older, but just a small compartment freezer in the back room. So anyway, working on a new ice maker. Personnel, Gregory's knee, I mentioned that before, and Dave Love is some of the reason for some of the overtime illnesses. Dave Love's father was diagnosed with pretty late stage lung cancer, and he is taking him back and forth to the doctor every Thursday and such. So when it hits on his shift, he's off. Under training, this is something unique. I don't think I've mentioned it before, but the care car from DuPont's coming in June, the week of June 10th. We wanted to put it here. This is a 3-car unit that travels around the country. Ryan Cox, with our department, his father works down on the river at DuPont. It's quite countrywide renowned safety and.
What's that acronym stand for?
I'm not sure what it stands for, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But anyway,
Is it some sort of educational thing or
yes,
something?
it's 3 railroad cars. The box car is a classroom. The tanker car is outfitted and can throw liquids, can throw smoke and such, in training for railroad emergencies. It's coming to Heath. Heath is sponsoring it. It's a free type deal. This thing travels around the country and only gets around here every few years. So we're fortunate to get it. But there really wasn't a good spur line for us to park it, so we ended up, for the good of the county, it's going to be parked down on Morris Street in the railroad yard in the city of Newark. We will take advantage of it, as well as the hazmat team and the rest of the county. It'll be here the June the 10th through the 15th. And we'll also have an LAPC meeting, Dick, on the rail car. So we talked about that before.
Yeah, they talked about that last Thursday.
So anyway, it's a little ahead, but it will be here the week of June 10th. And all the county fire departments and hazmat teams will benefit from that. And it's free. Saying law enforcement too, as far as that goes. But
What kind of food?
really do what?
What kind of food you serve?
Well, if Jeff Walker's there, there'll probably be. So, under old business, the FEMA grant that we were trying to get support for air packs, we didn't lose out on it, we just spent the money. So, we didn't get a notice that we did not qualify, it's just, we got a notice that said they've run out of money for the year. So when we write, again, we're gonna write for the same identical thing that we did this year, which will still be self-contained breathing apparatus.
So we didn't lose, but we didn't win.
That's correct.
Okay.
Everybody lost, and everybody had some big ticket items this year.
How much you put in for it?
Oh, it was around between $80,000 and $90,000 for self-contained breathing apparatus. Those things run about $5,000 a piece with a spare bottle. The EMS software, the mayor's got a contract, and part of that was my fault for carrying it around, and then I got sick. But that being said, we're finalizing that. We've ordered 2 new tough books, and the lawn tractor that we talked about for Station 2, we got a good deal. State bid through Wright Brothers and bought a Husqvarna with ag tires, wheel weights and such for Station 2 for under $3,000. So
Will that help on the hill then?
that's what everybody seemed to want, and the zero turns didn't work well on the hill, so
Slide.
best thing to do is keep them off hill. Just bottom line, I mean, and that's pretty hairy over there.
Just backing up, is that the software we were talking about where there was a $10,000? Is that the contract we looked at?
Yeah,
Still
the
going
EMS
with?
one though was picked up by Medville.
Medville's
Okay.
gonna pick up $5,200, and the annual and the fire department will be picking up right at $5,000 annual maintenance. We were paying $1,700-1,800 a year, and we're gonna be paying $5,000, but
It's community awareness and emergency response.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're the only one that can read around here. It's a pretty unique vehicle, or tool, I should say. So, tough books, lawnmowers, radios are being narrow banded, which is an FCC requirement. Tony can probably give you a little bit better rundown on that, and our fire tones will be changing to just a 2 tones. 2/3 of the total length of our tones will be changing based on high band changes to that, and
What do you mean, the actual tones
actually
that you
the
hear?
tones that, we did away with our plectrons and our pagers,
Uh-huh.
and we're actually sending out a signal now that's on a high band frequency, a VHF frequency, and to go along with the rest of the county, which is pretty slow making the transition, but it'll just be 2 faster tones that will activate our home monitors and things. Be appropriate for our fire and EMS, but it's going to eliminate 2/3 of the tones that are currently transmitted for the fire. So it really doesn't have much to do with the operation. I've been having Dave Skeen work on our PA system, that our radios and our tones and everything coming through our station. It's just been getting worse and worse, and Dave Skeen couldn't seem to remedy it, so I've been having Cliff with Threshold. Old Cliff, anybody?
Threshold's good.
He knows his stuff, but he and his sidekick have been coming in, working with us too, and trying to get that resolved, and checking through the city and elsewhere to see what it's gonna take to get our 2 parking lots sealed. Hopefully the city employees can do some of that crack sealing.
I talked to Dave about that. We'll need to sit down with him, take a look at what needs done and whether or not they have the time to do it. So let's see if we can do that over the next week or so. See what I know they're really busy right now.
With that,
And other than that, that's all I have. Any questions?
How did the event go down in Brownsville
Um,
Friday?
For the information that was put out over the radio and county fire frequencies and things about, a confirmed fatality that didn't exist, and that it was a tanker truck, and it wasn't. It was a box truck with some totes that had been ejected, and a fire that didn't happen. And so, other than that, the information was pretty accurate. But it was a mess. Everybody worked well together. From I had a carload of kids, and I just assumed that it oil spill. But no, everything went well, and nobody, to my knowledge, got hurt.
Were the totes empty?
No, the totes actually had product in them.
Yeah.
And so, and it was kind of on a grade, so a lot of that stuff started running down the hill. They had a kind of a combination motor oil and transmission fluid, from what I'm told, got down into the waterway, and so some of the hazmat team was working between 40 and Interstate 70 on a little stream trying to contain that from getting further into the waterways and things. But a good time was had by all.
just to back up, Mayor, could that Durapatcher that we use, could that be used just to spray a sealant?
Depends on the cracks that we're talking about. Remember, if it's like a long, narrow area, maybe not. I mean, remember when they talked about how that if you had a depression, spider webbing kind of effect, that it would be probably more effective in that kind of
I
environment.
remember when they did do that spider web area up there, that it covered quite a bit, and I just wondered if, we were able to use a sealant, through there rather than, what we used to do the patching with. I just.
Some of the cracks are in excess of an inch or wider. So, I mean, it's something we may end up having to get some neoprene. They make a foam in various
But I was just
thicknesses that
maybe
you
that
shove down in
machine could be used for that. I don't know.
Take a look at it. I don't think, we'll see, I would say the line item come out of the fire budget instead of the street budget for those materials, but I'll have to take a look at it.
If the machine could be utilized to do it. I just don't know whether it was or not.
So, that's all I have. Have any questions? Thanks. Okay, thank you, Chief. Seeing none, we're moving on here.
Thanks, Chief.
5:48, and we'll begin with Chief Shepherd. Thanks for reading.
Okay. Anybody need a copy of the agenda? It was late, and there was a void space, which I've since filled.
Oh, did you get that information?
Yeah, the overtime. 1,487 calls for service, 114 reports, 28 arrests, 24 accidents, and 109 citations. And the previous years to the right. Overtime usage, if you're ready to copy, because it's not on your agenda. For the month of April, overtime was 10,231. Year to date, 43,907. And likewise, previous years to the right of that, so pretty good. False alarms, as usual, majority are commercial. There were 30 commercial and 3 residential. Revenue from false alarm program, 510 in the month of April and year-to-date, $2,862.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
the residential ones, I know that, my neighbor across the street just put a new alarm system in, and, they got screwed up on how they set it, and it went off and called your patrolman over there, I think, 3 or 4 times in the last, 2 or 3 weeks now. What happens after, say, the second time, or, do they get charged for that, or how does that work?
It takes about the 4th one in the calendar year.
Because these happen like boom, boom.
Well,
boom.
if they call us before we respond,
Okay.
that's helpful. Obviously, we can't be sure it is who
Right.
it is, who they say they are, but particularly somebody having, problems during installation.
Yeah. Okay.
Wanda will send him a letter if it's, after each one,
Okay. Because I told him, he's got me as the person that's got the key in case you guys need to get into his house. And I just told him, I said, you want to start getting that thing under control, because I think you're going to get tagged. You're, with the,
and then we send you a duplicate bill. Since you're the.
Price for that keyhole.
all right.
Still get three passes, is that the rules still?
Yeah.
Of the $2,900, how much of that is annual renewals, and how much of that is exceeded their?
None of it is fines. Most of it is just renewals and new applications. I can't remember the last time, because we are very generous.
So there is a cost that they're charged.
It's an escalating as well. The 4th time, I believe, calls for a fine, and then if you fail to respond, I can withdraw your alarm permit, but we'll still come and it goes off. So,
It's over 3 discretionary.
No, it's well, let me take that back. There have been circumstances where I have forgiven a fine.
Discretionary.
Yeah.
Program's working well, though. This thing's been going on
Oh,
5 years now.
yeah. When I started, we averaged 65 a month.
Great.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And then the officers told me of rolling up to the mall or some commercial outlet, and they laugh and giggle because cops are coming. So they don't do that
Your
anymore.
efficiency a lot. We've got a lot fewer.
Yeah.
Like an April field development, I know when you call out because of the birds, it's like line through the warehouse, go through.
Yeah.
Motion, I got 2 eyes, and then I got to call it crib for it. Shoot that damn
Just wait to read this. You probably recall the young lady that spoke up at the council last month that had the vandalism. The mayor and I talked with the management, Heathwood Village. And I think the mayor put it very eloquently. We're not here to cast aspersions, but we think a lot of our problems originate from your tenants. That's not what he said, but I'm paraphrasing. Anyway, they listened carefully and expressed some of their own concerns with crime and drug activity. And the topic of some kind of security or somebody keeping a watchful eye, a security guard, I suppose. But they took it a step further, and knowing that our officers have intimate knowledge of who the bad people are and the bad addresses. So she spoke with the corporate folks, and they elected instead to hire special duty officers. And that should start up probably within the next 30 days or so. And it's they're unsure how long, but they want to give it enough of a chance to see if it has an impact. We received, I received a letter from the Attorney General's office Friday that we are receiving an award of $5,484 for DARE funding for next school year. Click It or Ticket begins this Friday. We participate every year. Sometimes that's a media event, plus, of course, an extra emphasis on seatbelt enforcement. But there won't be a media event this year. There is one, but the time and place, I don't know who picked it. Again, I don't want to cast aspersions or anything. It's must pop right there. Anyway, we did find out that we're getting a new radar for our participation last year. So those are expensive units. So it's worth
Handheld one or those ones
No.
like in the dash?
just the dash
Okay.
variety. And we do have 3 candidates identified. Hopefully we'll interview all 3 of them this week. The benefit is that they're all 3 either current or former public safety workers, and 2 of them are former employees of Heath. So should be a quick turnaround as far as interviews and background investigations. So trying to fast track that because Becky McComb had knee surgery and she'll be off 6 to 8 weeks. So we're down 2 dispatchers. And so there was another item of the Stroud. Should have wrote it down, but it didn't. Anyway, I just had my 58th birthday, so it's all right. I'll be okay. That's not that important either. Did each of you receive our after action report on the Stroud incident? You know, after each critical incident, including pursuits, use of force, I think you get the picture. We debrief so we can revisit the event and could we do anything better? And that's what's contained in that. Basically, it's a cover sheet I wrote, kind of bullet points to summarize the event, and then you have a copy of every officer's statement that was involved. And if you read all the statements, you get a pretty good picture of how busy we were. I know I sent a copy and I forgot to bring one of the wanted bulletin.
It's the last page.
Oh, did you get out to them? Okay, good. Anyway, quick call to Homeland Security, and one of their agents was here in half an hour. And just by telephone, we had that thing disseminated to every law enforcement agency in Ohio within about 15 minutes. So, anyway, talk about, everything going right, having a staff that knew exactly what to do. And as I told the mayor, it began with the first 2 responding officers. There were only 2 officers on duty at the time. And just everyone did the right thing and called in the right people. And so we had an escalating layer of supervision come in throughout the morning. And it's just funny how, everybody knew what their job should be. And of course, I ended up being the media officer, but that's all right. Somebody's got to do that. That's an important aspect of a situation like that. So, I put down some recommendations. They're really minimal. I mentioned a headset for the ATV rider. That's no big deal.
Let's go ahead and go through them. This is page 2, back of the first page. Recommendation number 1 from the chief was continue meeting with and monitoring Heath Nursing Home to verify their promised security measures, background checks of potential clients, and assurance they will no longer accept patients with violent criminal backgrounds or are under indictment. Chief Shepard and I went and met with folks at the nursing home. It was within a week, I think, of the incident, right?
Right.
And they discussed that they had completed background checks on their current residents and have implemented a policy of doing background checks on incoming residents. Now, that will certainly be helpful, and I think it's important that, as the chief recommended, that we do continue to be in contact with them to make sure that they are continuing to do these steps that they outlined. In the case of this particular individual, I don't know whether or not a background check would have picked it up, just because he hadn't been convicted of anything. Maybe it would have, maybe it wouldn't have. That leads us to recommendation B. Work with legislators and other law enforcement executives to preclude similar incidents in like environments. Should be regulated at the state level. Days after the incident took place, I contacted both Senator Schaefer and Representative Hottinger's offices regarding this incident. I spoke with Representative Hottinger on the phone, and the day I spoke with him was the day before he was to meet with the president of the State Police Chiefs Association.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
Who happens to be a Heath resident. And so I gave Representative Hottinger a heads up that this was going to be a topic that they were probably going to want to discuss with him, because he called you, the next day after the incident took place, right?
Yeah, the president of the Chiefs Association, right.
So, and I've had follow-up conversations with Representative Hottinger, and he is looking at doing something on the House side legislatively. I had a phone conversation within the past couple of weeks where I spoke with Senator Schaefer. He is going to initiate legislation on the Senate side. I'm sure what will happen is that if something's coming out of both the Senate and the House, they'll somehow work out any differences between the two. But the call that I had with Senator Schaefer, we were actually discussing, our thoughts of how something like this would be crafted, and it seems to me that there should be a requirement that if a court system in County A is requiring an individual as part of a bond agreement or a parole agreement or any other type of legal stipulation, if County A is requiring an individual to reside in County B, then County A's clerk of courts needs to notify County B that this is being stipulated. And Senator Schaefer and I were talking about what type of crimes this would need to be reported for, and he said, well, certainly violent crimes should be, at least top of the list, which I think is good thinking. So Senator Schaefer seems to be very motivated on the Senate side to initiate legislation that will hopefully prevent an incident like this from happening in another jurisdiction or our own. And that being the fact that we had no idea that this individual was here. And when you go through and read a couple of the officers involved and dispatchers involved, you'll see that there was a period of time in which we didn't know who this guy was, why he was here, where he was from, what he was or was not capable of doing. And it took some legwork on the part of our personnel to track that information down. Time that they could have been out looking for the individual. If we had a law in place that would require notification, would we have posted an armed guard outside this guy's door 24/7? Absolutely not. But the preliminary information that we had to track down just to try to get an understanding of who this individual was, we could have already done that homework. We could have put it in a file somewhere. And we're not asking for people's privacy rights to be infringed on, HIPAA rights. Strictly the information involved in the court documents would have been enough for us to have gotten a much better understanding of who this individual was prior to him breaking out. So that's the gist of what I encouraged both the senator and representative to achieve through the legislative process at the state, and it seems as though that process has begun, and I will continue to follow up with them to make sure that that process is followed through. Hold on just one second. Let me go through the other recommendations. The chief mentioned about the radio accessories. We have a motorcycle unit. Sergeant Black has for that unit a helmet and radio equipment in the helmet that he can just plug into his walkie-talkie, which gives him the ability to hear while he's on a loud motorcycle. I think that's the kind of setup that the chief's recommending for the ATV. And then finally, D, to assign a scribe to accompany the field commander for documentation and other non-law enforcement tasks. That would require the hiring of a civilian clerk, which we don't have right now. I'm not sure that our current budget allows us to do that, but I certainly understand the chief's thinking in this recommendation, being that if you had somebody not responsible for managing the incident, just being there and notating what is happening as the incident happens, it will allow for perhaps an easier assessment than after the fact when we circle the wagons and see what we did right and what we can do better. So,
if I may, I put the civilian clerk in parentheses. Certainly wasn't suggesting we hire. That was just an example.
Okay.
The clerk being typically skilled at shorthand and multitasking, but it could have just as easily been a reserve officer or an extra dispatcher, just somebody, as you put it, just to keep a log of dates, times, activities.
And the last section here, the observations at the end, I couldn't agree more with the statement that the chief outlined there. I think it speaks for itself. Doug, do you have a question for us on that?
I would just hope that, Senator Schaefer, when they say notify the county involved, county A, county B, that they definitely make sure that the municipality in county B is also, because I just don't want to see it get lost to where, oh, well, they got it in downtown, the courthouse, but they never go in.
Well, that would be something that would need to be, I think, looked at, though, because in some counties, the sheriff may be the most appropriate law enforcement official to be notified. In other counties, it may be a chief of police, for instance. So I don't know.
I just don't want to see them let it get lost.
Well, the Ohio Chiefs Association, like many organizations like that, we have our own lobby arm, and so whatever is drafted and comes out will be under their scrutiny, and so that somebody with a police perspective will.
Now, who's the gentleman from Heath here?
Ken Hinkle.
Who?
Ken Hinkle.
He's the chief at OVATS.
Yeah. Used to be at North, left there as a sergeant, and then went to the hospital for a couple of years. Started as a chief.
Now, so just so everybody's clear, this document is a matter of public record. I'm going to have Jenna PDF this and make it available on the police page of the city's website for a couple months or so that anybody who wants to take a look at it, they can. Yeah.
Before you do that, make sure Chief wanted this as part of that. Before you put it on the web.
What's that?
This woman's
This
personal
woman's personal
security
information.
number.
I'm assuming you don't want that part of this PDF on the web.
I can't tell what it is.
Can you look at it?
It's like Cooney's.
Does it have social on it?
Yeah.
Has that not been redacted?
Yeah.
It says security number.
Oh, no.
Before you put that on the web.
Yeah, that's, that comes from, that is not public information. That's a printout from our internet-based, it's like leads.
Oh, the database.
Yeah,
Then
OLEG.
we need to pull this out.
Yeah, everybody take that OLEG thing out.
Okay.
Then you didn't see
These
it.
two here?
It's got one page, right?
Yeah, it should be on, well, no, it looks like yours is, looks like it's on two separate pages.
If he wouldn't mind, give me some sense of.
Lieutenant Mason.
I'm still gonna sleep tonight. Believe me.
So it's this, right?
Yes.
All right.
Sorry, Chief.
No, thank you. Thank you
catch.
for pointing that out. The
I saw
docket,
it too, but I
the
didn't-
docket is a,
That's from the county.
yeah, that's not, that's a public
Savage
record.
County.
I had Jenna front and back it, and it's on two different
Okay.
pages.
Well, anything that says OLEG on it.
What is, you see a lot of names mentioned, then you see an ACDA following it, or FRA, what is those stand for?
Assured clear distance ahead,
Oh, okay.
and FRA is Financial Responsibility Act. That's a type of suspension. Yeah, that's somebody driving without insurance.
Oh.
Yeah, I see that in the numbers and heads. Sometimes I want to go back to the slide.
Yeah. And you know Moakley Doakley.
Mostly Doakley?
Yeah.
Mostly out like that.
Well, it's just something we arrest people for when we don't have anything else. I am joking.
Advocate's not here, so that's.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I made sure of that.
I got a couple questions. This picture, and the one that came out on TV,
Mhm.
I mean, this guy could have stood right in front of me and I
Yeah.
would never recognize
Well, that's a classic example of what the mayor described. If we had that information ready at hand and a nursing home staff that cooperated fully, we had to use what was readily accessible, and that was his Bureau Motor Vehicles photo. There's only a year's difference between what we had shown on TV and that mugshot.
But they knew that that picture didn't look like it.
Yeah,
Who's
nobody
that?
called me and said,
People at the nurse.
yeah.
Oh,
But we did get it. We did get it. It was still morning time, I know. I think it was after business hours, 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, that we talked with Scioto County, and they were very cooperative. I mean, you know, I wish they would have whispered in our ear that he was here, but you know, they went out of their way to help. So I'm not pointing the finger at anybody in particular. It's just one of those things. It's you know, it kind of raised eyebrows. I got calls from other police agencies, and so you know, you know, I'll just blame who should be blamed. That's correctional people and governors.
My second question, there's simply.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot your second question. I thought we talked
I wrote
about
it down.
politics.
I remember looking at it. There seemed to be at council meetings, seemed to be a difference of opinion as to whether it was a overreaction or if it was a proper reaction.
What was the
That the Heath police overreacted.
oh, and that the
Every
media
month?
overreacted,
Yeah.
and the school.
Oh, you're talking about our visitor.
Yes.
Well, you don't want to ask me. Because I'll tell you.
I'm asking, I think.
What can I say that we would respectfully disagree with the comments that she made?
He's,
Everybody's entitled to their opinion. We would respectfully disagree
I mean,
with that.
see,
The guy was legitimately
That was what was reported to our dispatchers by nursing care facility staff, was that he had injured, had hurt somebody there, that he was dangerous. That came from their talking with our dispatch department, their personnel, their staff.
So I just like to see you get red. And it's working.
Did you notice when I was talking to kids at Youth and Government? I mentioned 2 examples of, you know, politicians and bad behavior. Democrats. No, I'm just messing with the mayor. It's the only chance I get. You can add, I'm very well behaved when we're alone.
Tim, you have a question?
Yeah, I got a question. After he was caught, did anyone ask him how he got from point A to point B, what he actually did during all that time, or how he, how did he cross 79? How did he cross? How did he get to?
Well,
Ford Reserve.
well, we quizzed him, but
did he use the crosswalk?
they knew right away. How could you forget a place like that? Anyway, asked him what his name was, and he lied about his name, and he lied that you know, I didn't break a window, and you know, he knew the code, how to get out. So he was a little, I don't know, toasty from not eating or drinking all day, and plus being disturbed mentally. So they, you know, they saw no reason to continue that Atlantic West thing. So, but no, the answer, no. He would have just lied anyways. But, you know, obviously he used cover of darkness. And kind of like I thought, he might hunker down during the day and wait until it got dark.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was kind of curious of whether he went from, you know, from there where he left and real quickly got to the wood, you know, in the short, before everyone knew he was even gone, he was in the woods like a whole long period of time, or was he in amongst buildings, houses, whatever, you know, until he get, you know, that's, I was just.
Well, keep in mind that one of the staff saw him at 4:45, or, yeah, 4:45, and then they reported it at 5:30. So he had plenty of time. Even if he was dragging one foot behind the other. You know, you read what the first officer on the scene statement, he asked who was supposed to be watching him, and one of the nurses spoke up and said, "I am." And he said, how often are you supposed to check him? She said, every 15 minutes. And he said, when was the last time you checked him? She said, I don't remember.
15 minutes.
Sounds like me.
No, it's reading.
No, I can remember more things.
It's reading where you make a report, you know, it said, depends on who you're asking. So the old people, they believe everything. The middle-aged people suspects everything, and the young people knows everything.
Yeah. So if you haven't already, please, and you guys too, if you grabbed one, pull out the two pages on that has the women's photos. I've removed those from our copies. I'll have Jenna PDF this.
Well, that's my fault.
This will be on the city's. This will be on the city's website on the police page for. Like I said, we'll leave it up there a couple months or so. Anybody wants to look at it or whatever, can look at it in that period of time.
Does anybody have any questions for Chief Shepherd? Mr. Crable?
An update on the impound lot situation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. That was the.
That was 15 minutes ago, you forgot.
Yeah. No, it was over 15 minutes. I thought about it when I walked in. Anyway, we have two quotes being developed. Dan?
More than 15 minutes ago.
Craig Black contacted a company he was aware of. I met with the rep from Cleary Buildings, and they built a similar building for almost identical purposes for Knox County Sheriff's Department. What we're looking at is a little bit bigger, just a little bit, and we're dividing it into 3 rooms. So there's 2 walls that the one in Knox County doesn't have. They built the one in Knox County for $49,000, turnkey, concrete, electric. I think it's only about a year old. We're going to go up and take a field trip one of these days and take a look at it. But if you look at their building over here, where their office is, they built that building, and that's pretty attractive.
How much you say it was?
$49,000, and the Knox County Sheriff's Department built theirs exclusively for property containment. And but we would need to separate using 2 walls, a general area, which would be the largest area, and then a room dedicated solely to property and have climate control, and then one bay for a vehicle with a 12-foot door, so that if it's used in a crime or it's from a fatality, that a rollback could, back into the bay somewhat, and because it's a piece of evidence, it has to be securable. So, and then there'll be a doorway between the property room and that isolated bay, and then there would be 2 garage doors.
All 3 areas be heated, or
Just one.
So you could go clear on through?
Well, you could only go between the 2 controlled areas, and there's only 2 people who have access.
What about Verizon's act? We're going to be pretty close to them.
Well,
what is it?
well, this is the best part, and it kind of suggests how user-friendly they're being with this. That drive they put through would eliminate a lot of space for us to keep that clear. And so I talked with the construction engineer from Verizon, told him what we wanted to do, and they agreed. And if you look to the left of the zoning garage, there's another driveway now. They came back and cut another driveway in and put a man gate, because generally they just need to send technicians there from time to time. But on the rare occasion they need to bring big, heavy equipment like a crane or something, we'll just simply keep that road, and then that's where we'll put our gate, our electric gate, and just make sure we don't leave cars on the actual roadway. But so now we're looking at about a 90 feet by 120 foot area, and
So they put that road in specifically because you had asked them what you wanted to do.
by simply asking, they put it in.
Great. And you're going to be getting quotes from these 2 buildings.
Yeah, they're both working on quotes. The other, again, it's a local company that Craig Black's familiar with, and they do pole barns and similar type buildings.
What area compared to the one you've already got will this, give us? Will it increase the amount?
Yeah, it'll be bigger.
Storage space.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit bigger than what we have now, and it won't have the dips and groundhog holes and all that that the one now does. And again, the important piece is that we don't need to involve a police officer to release cars. And plus, it'll give us a building that we need and an impound room. And ergo, it gives us another office in our headquarters, because the property room will go away. Good.
I'm all for it.
Any other questions?
Thanks for the update.
Sure.
Any other
Thanks
questions
for
Chief?
reading my mind.
Chief, do you have anything else?
I'm going to Kentucky Friday to a beat the heat race and then fly our flag. If you don't mind riding in the trailer, you can all go.
Well, thank you, Chief. We will adjourn at 6:29.
Thanks, Chief.
Here's how really we got out of here. Oh, the Peggy's got a.
Yeah.
Once.
Cletus, I'll put this on Linda's chair.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
I figured you
Oh,
knew what to do with it.
Yeah.
Put it in the
That's
box.
what I'm trying to do. That got me 2 or 3 weeks to get them all passed out. That's the next thing to do.
Brian, did you show Brian that thing?
Yes.
I gave him
Do you want ones like that for first award?
Yeah, that'd be nice to have.
I told you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Please.
I had those 30.
Now, the thing is, I mean, because